No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Let it not be said that we're not positive, optimistic people here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So despite the fact that the Winnipeg Jets just put forth probably their worst effort of the season and were handily dominated by Vancouver by a 5-0 final margin, let it not say that we are positive. And I will start off the positivity by saying I got to empty my dishwasher and load it in the course of that third period because I didn't need to watch it. That's a positive of tonight's game from the Winnipeg Jets, or at least the Drew Mindell perspective. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Manouk, with Ezra Ginsburg. I am the power of positivity himself, Drew Mindell, here to talk about tonight's demolishment, which isn't a word, but I'm tired and we've done a lot of shows by the Canucks over the Jets. Just I think the worst performance of the year. I'm trying to remember which one would have been worse than this one from the Jets perspective, but this was as one-sided as they get, and Vancouver gets full marks for their victory, Ezzy.
Yeah, considering, boys, that the Jets didn't score a goal, we're not going to have a Seagram shot of the game. So I was thinking, Drew, you can
Vancouver scores a goal.
Well, we don't give the Seagram shot of the game to the visiting team, Drew.
Are you going to take if you're going to take a shot right now, I'll play the bumper and we can call that the Seagram shot.
Well, no, what I was going to ask you, Drew, is if you can just shoot me in the face instead of doing a Seagram shot of the game, because
Hang on. The Seagram shot of the game.
Your wish is my command, Mr. Ginsburg. The Seagram shot of the game. I won't actually do it because I'm pretty sure it's not justifiable homicide. But
somebody should do a shot of Seagrams. A shot of Fireball after that. Like, guys, I'm sorry. What did we just watch? Like that. Like, the Vancouver Canucks are one of the best teams in the league, but I mean, clearly the flu bug. There's a virus going through this team right now. I mean, first off, could the Jets complete 2 or 3 passes consecutively? No. The passing was off. You know, the Jets finally get a power play, and Alex Iafallo's in the corner all by himself, and he just trips. Josh Morrissey tripped earlier in the game, out of nowhere. Hellebuck clearly is not 100%. And the craziest thing, boys, and obviously we're going to have, a lot to talk about here, a lot of Jets goals to talk about in the Betway game recap. I guess we're just going to, recap all of the Canucks goals. But I mean, Hellebuck, you're watching that game. Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press, he questioned, would Bones pull Hellebuck, Dave, after the first period? Because we know Laurent Brossoit didn't face a lot of rubber yesterday in Seattle. Then the Jets go down 4-0, and what happens? Thatcher Demko leaves the game. Casey DeSmith comes in, and he doesn't allow any goals. And the Jets start shot at, I remember Neil Pionk, Sean Monahan, there was a rush. Neil Pionk got the first shot on Casey DeSmith, and the Jets had 4 shots the rest of the game. It was just unbelievable. And then obviously Hellebuck stays in for the rest of the game. But I thought it was kind of weird, guys. I don't think this was a turning point or anything. But I was kind of surprised that Bowness kept Hellebuck in there after the first, and especially after that fourth goal.
I don't think the Jets have pulled a goalie this year for bad performance or poor performances. I mean, they've pulled a goalie certainly to try and get an equalizer to go 6-on-5, but I can't think of a game where a goalie has been replaced this season for the Winnipeg Jets. And if I'm wrong, please correct me in the chat, of course, but I'm pretty sure the Jets haven't pulled Brossoit or Hellebuck at any point so far this season. I agree with you, Ezzy. I sort of thought maybe after the 4-0 goal, but really, I mean,
what's the point? I guess you could say, what's the point of doing that? The game's over,
right?
Then you could also say, what's the point in leaving Hellebuck in if he's sick, right? And Brossoit played well, obviously yesterday in Seattle, and he didn't face a lot of rubber. I think I'm nitpicking here, Drew, because I don't think really the Jets played well enough in front of Hellebuck, and I don't think they would have played well enough in front of Brossoit to make a comeback in this game down 4-0. But I just think it was something, worth noting just when you consider the context, right? Hellebuck's not feeling well. Brossoit played last night, but he didn't face a lot of rubber. I just thought it was something that I agreed with Mike McIntyre that I thought that might happen. That's all.
I'm just here to talk about the Moose 5th win in a row. So once the Moose minute starts, let me know.
You can just sit there, take a nap in the meantime, Dave. That's
fine.
I
mean, come on, we got some goals to discuss, but they were scored
we
by.
only like to talk about winning teams, right, Dave?
Yeah, we talk about winning teams on this show. So I mean, if folks want us to be an extended Moose hour, we can do that, folks.
No.
With the team that actually wins the hockey games consistently. So the Moose, of course, big victory in Iowa over the Wild, down 1-0, fought back. We'll talk about that after.
We'll talk about it after. I mean, look, this is just a terrible performance by the Winnipeg Jets. The best scoring chance for the Jets all game, or one of the best scoring chances, basically came on the opening shift of the game, where the Jets won the faceoff and they gained the Canucks zone. And then Nino Niederreiter had that bit of a knuckler that, where it looked like Demko actually may have hurt himself. That may have been the catalyst for why he left the game later on, as they highlighted on the second intermission panel. But
did you guys think that Demko, sorry, Drew, did you guys originally just think Demko had an equipment issue?
I just thought maybe he got bored and wanted to go do something else for the rest of the night.
Fair enough.
Maybe he wanted to get early access to the Roxy or something. I mean, I have no idea what he was up to, but it just sort of all of a sudden randomly, like he just sort of skated off the ice and there he goes. I'm like,
well, Drew, you mentioned earlier, like we can't. And by the way, if Hellebuck or Brossoit has been pulled this year, it's only been once or twice. And we're what 63 games into the season here, Drew. Like I can't keep track of all these games at this point. But that's why I thought it was so funny, guys, because you're thinking maybe Bones is going to pull Hellebuck for Brossoit, and then Demko leaves the game pitching a shutout, and then Casey DeSmith comes in. It was just
neither of them have been pulled this year. Hellebuck has started, I guess it would now be 46 games, and Brossoit has started 17 games, and they've each finished that exact same number. So they haven't had to work on that at all.
Well,
so
that's the sign of the best goaltending tandem in the league, right, Drew? When you have two really good goalies, they're not going to get pulled a lot. I think it's pretty simple.
But you know what? I'm somewhat inclined to agree. I mean, if you got Connor Hellebuck, who didn't look like he was 100%, and Laurent Brossoit, who looked solid yesterday, only faced 14 shots in the final 40 minutes, and I think five shots in the third period.
Yeah,
like he wasn't tested. He wasn't. I mean, look, I don't think the difference was going to make the goaltending. Let's be realistic. I think this team is, was a little bit out of sync, and I think people have to recognize it is the second game of a back-to-back, and it's the first time all season this Jets team has lost a game. They were 6-0 coming into this contest. So I mean, they're 6-1-0 going into the second game of back-to-back. And of course, Seattle and Vancouver are not a significant distance. So we're not talking about anything of real consequence. It's not like you're going from Calgary to LA or something like that. But it's still it's not an easy game, and the Jets just didn't have it, and that's what it comes down to. They just didn't have it going on. It's crazy to think, though. Obviously, down 2-0, Mason Appleton, if he scores that goal, it's a 2-1 hockey game, and that's just the gateway hockey goes sometimes, right? You have a game that the Jets very easily could have been in. We're having a different conversation. He doesn't score. They go back the other way. They score a goal, and suddenly a 2-1 game potentially is 3-0 in reality.
Well, and also, Dave, the early second period, right? Remember, Mark Scheifele had that good scoring chance. It was a breakaway or a partial breakaway. Remember, JT Miller tried to get it back to Ian Cole.
Yep.
And then it went all the way down the ice. Scheifele had the scoring chance. And then right after that, or not right after that, but shortly after that, remember, Nemesnikov had the scoring chance and Demko made the glove save. So to Dave's point, instead of it being a 3-0 game, because I think it was 3-0 already at that point.
3-0 at that point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
A 3-1 game.
Exactly. Even if it's a 3-1 game or 2-1 game, it's a hockey game. As soon as that fourth goal is scored, we've been covering hockey for way too long, boys. We always make this joke. The 3-goal lead is one thing. 4-goal leads are pretty much insurmountable, right? Like, you just don't see that very often. You see it, once in a while. But once you're down 4-0, the flu bug is going through the team.
Well,
the game was over at that point in the second period.
Yeah, especially because you could see the Jets didn't have anything. I mean,
Exactly.
The Jets just didn't have anything, that they could give out anymore. You saw guys blowing tires left, right, and center. You mentioned it, Ezzy. They couldn't complete a pass if their lives depended on it. This was just a team that they were on empty. Their gas tanks were on empty, and if they were going to be able to, generate anything, it was going to have to come early in the contest, and then they maybe would have to hold on for dear life. But when, Connor Hellebuck gives up that weak second goal, and we'll get into it in the Betway game recap here in a minute. And I mean, look, Josh Morrissey, who has been breaking ankles of opponents all season long.
That's trademarked by Dave M, by the way.
Okay, well, I'll send Dave a royalty for my usage of it.
Thank you.
I think he broke his own ankles a couple times. He just sort of tripped and fell on a couple different instances. And, you think about the Dylan DeMello play. It didn't result in a goal, but his stick explodes on the clearing attempt, and it goes right onto the stick of Quinn Hughes. Connor Hellebuck makes the save there. But when you just see sort of so many of those kind of instances happening over and over again, you realize that it's just not your night. And, early in the year, I remember there was a loss. I don't remember which loss it was. Like I said, there's been a lot of games and a lot of post games, but it was a game where, in past, a coach like Paul Maurice would have just said, sort of flush it and move on. And Rick Bowness said, we don't flush games, on this team. We, look to see how we can improve upon it. I don't think there's anything you can glean from today's video to improve upon. I don't think you can look at today's video and say, this is where the problems, were. This is, one of the sources of the problem. It was an all.
You're burning the game film from tonight's game.
It was an all systems failure.
It's a burning the game film type of situation. I think, a lot of people mentioning this in the chat. You have to flush this game, right? Like, you're happy you got the 2 points in Seattle. But I don't know what we watched, as I mentioned earlier, because this was not Winnipeg Jets hockey. I really don't think this, is a sign of things to come or anything like that. Look, Vancouver's a great team, but the Jets are there. I mean, Dave, if you had to count how many guys are dealing with the flu bug right now, I mean, you would have to think it's at least half a dozen guys the way they were playing. Like Kyle Connor, there were certain points where, like, he just didn't seem like he was interested in the play. Like he was turning the puck over all over the ice. And you just didn't have really anything going on for large stretches of the game. And the thing is, you didn't have a lot of the power plays. Obviously, the Jets didn't get one until late in the game, and they did absolutely nothing with it. The game was absolutely over at that point anyway. But I think this is just one of those games where, you can't, there's nothing that was teachable in that game.
No.
Yeah. The one thing I want to say, though, is remember, we were giving the Jets high praise for their effort yesterday in Seattle. So, I mean, the team that was defensively sound yesterday wasn't today. They were loose, and they were, so, I mean, it is kind of inconsistent to suggest. And Brent, you were in Seattle yesterday, so you didn't technically, it wasn't a complete waste because you got to see them in Seattle. Maybe not necessarily the game tonight in Vancouver wasn't so good, but yesterday they had a shutout. Today they got shut out. So you got to see the yin yang of the Winnipeg Jets experience. But no, what I was going to say that again, the Jets played really well yesterday, and we praised them for, Winnipeg Jets hockey.
Yeah. So
again, it's not easy when, like they played, like Vancouver's a better team than Seattle. There's no question about that. But, and I think I saw JB Brown say this in the comments, and it's true. Vancouver wanted this hockey game, right? Vancouver's very well aware of the record of the Jets and how the Jets did 3 weeks ago, how the Jets came back in that game. And I'm not going to say embarrassed them, but won a game that they expected to win. And remember, they went and started complaining, oh, the refs, it's hard when we're playing up against the refs and the Jets, was kind of the mantra of the Canucks. But you knew that they wanted this game, and they had this game circled as to get a measure of revenge against the Winnipeg Jets and say, listen, we're a top dog in the West, and we're going to show you that we are. So, I mean, the Jets lose the game, and it is what it is. And like, I agree with you boys. Like, you flush it, you're going to have there's going to be, obviously we're going to have to deal with it. We don't get to flush it as much as we'd like to, but we have to deal with it for the next, half an hour. But what I was going to say is, they're going to come to Winnipeg. They're off tomorrow. It'll be a whole new ball game with Colin Miller and Tyler Toffoli in the fold on Monday.
And just wanted to mention one thing, because obviously, 44, that was one of his worst games of the year. And he might be one of the players that's dealing with, a flu virus, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Josh Morrissey has been one of the Jets' most valuable players, not just this year, but in previous years. So you had a good defenseman, obviously, for the Jets. But Quinn Hughes, guys, we got to talk about him. Like, I mean, his skating, it's incredible. And I thought, again, in this game, Quinn Hughes I mean, it wasn't even close. Like, this was a showcase game between two of the best defensemen. We talked about Morrissey. There's a good chance he represents Team Canada coming up in international play, right? I mean, Quinn Hughes is America's stud defenseman, right? They've got a few of them. Adam Fox is another one, right? But just incredible to watch him play. Like, that's what stood out to me, the skill of Vancouver. We talked about mainly
the speed
this morning.
of Vancouver is what jumped out to me early in the game, especially in that first period. The Jets didn't look like they could, that they just weren't prepared for the speed that Vancouver was coming at them at, and
they couldn't slow the Canucks down in the neutral zone, Drew, and it was it was a lot of playing catch up, and it seemed like not only were the Jets playing from behind from a score perspective, but we always talk about dictating pace, and obviously a team can't dictate the pace of play throughout the course of an entire game. I mean, it's rare. Sometimes it happens. We definitely saw it a lot yesterday for the Jets versus the Kraken, but I felt like the Jets were just playing catch up and just running around in their own zone. And I mean, that fifth goal, I mean, I don't know, again, I think a lot of these guys are dealing with something, but like, Sean Monahan just backhands the puck, or was it Nemesnikov backhands the puck and it goes off of Monahan, and the Hoglander goal, it just bouncing around. Like, it was just an ugly game overall.
Yeah, let's get into the nitty-gritty details of it. You're gonna have 5 Canucks goals to stomach through before we can get to at least the Moose victory on the Manuk Moose Minute. But stay with us. We're gonna do it. Let's start it off with the Betway game recap.
The Betway game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Betway for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. And if you're like me and you thought the Jets were going to win and you gave a goal and a half, well, Betway thanks you for your money for tonight's contest. With a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way.
You only lost $5, Drew.
It's true. That when I bet, at least I'm the right combination of cheap and bad at it, so that I really don't. It never.
And
really
the thing is, when you have millions of dollars in your bank account, I mean, what's $5?
Exactly. Exactly. When you're money bags Mindell, who cares if you lose?
You
$5?
You have to be money bags to wear a shirt like that.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Smiley. Mr. Smiley. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. It's, just about midnight. This is our third broadcast in the last 24 hours.
I like that shirt, Drew. Wear that shirt proudly. I do
wear this shirt proudly. I got to be.
You just got a Ginsburg, Drew. You just got a Ginsburg compliment. You're definitely taking that shirt off and burning it.
I was going to say, as he's a fashion maven, we know that.
Drew. Yeah. I'm a fashion maven with my hoodies and sweatpants. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's a step up of wearing the same shirt to my wedding 3 days in a row, like you did so many years ago, and then got butter on it after day one.
And I've been trying to get the sponsorship from Joseph E. Bank or Joseph A. Bank. I forget what it was, but yes, I got butter sauce or something, chicken juice, or I don't know what it was. And yes, I only had one shirt, and I had to buy a new shirt. And yes, you've reminded me every day since 2012, I believe, was the year you got married.
That's correct. Very good memory.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank God, at least one of us remembers. I need you to keep track so you can remind me when my anniversary is. It's coming up. Got to keep track of that sort of thing. In any event, big thanks to our friends at Betway. And before that, when we did the Seagram shot of the game, nice and early. Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Fireball tastes like heaven, burns like hell. Available wherever your fine liquor products are sold. It started poorly for the Winnipeg Jets. They had a good scoring chance on the first shift of the game, but that was about all downhill from there. Vancouver opened the scoring 2:05 into the first period. JT Miller gets his 32nd of the year, assist to Nils Hoglander and Quinn Hughes. It's a failed zone exit by Kyle Connor. And I mean, he was soft and he was slow in this play. And we talked about it, how the Canucks were anything but soft and slow. They were fast and they were harder on the puck than the Winnipeg Jets were. And after the failed zone exit, JT Miller, gets body position on both DeMello and Josh Morrissey. There's a goal mouth scramble, and he tucks it past Connor Hellebuyck to give the Canucks an early 1-0 lead. bad play by Kyle Connor, but the entire line, the Scheifele, the Mesnikov, Connor line, was hemmed in terribly in their own zone on this shift and really throughout the first period before the Jets brought out the line blender, Ezzy.
Yeah, it's funny, Dave. When Drew said soft and slow, I thought he was talking about his lovemaking, but he was talking about the Winnipeg Jets here. So yeah, I mean, you mentioned, not a good play from Kyle Connor here, but Drew. I knew I would get Drew on that one. I knew I would get him on that one. Look, boys, we're breaking down a 5-0 victory here for the Canucks at 5 to midnight. And so, we got to keep it real here. And yes, it was at a birthday party earlier, and I have had a few drinks, so I'm feeling a little maybe more loose than I was last night.
God help us. Whose birthday party were you at?
It was a friend's daughter's 16th birthday.
Ah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Keep on going.
Yeah, I don't know if they want me to mention the.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I just didn't know.
I'll tell you who in the private.
I know who it was now. You don't even have to tell me. I'm pretty sure I know who it was.
Oh yeah, Drew's on top of all the 16-year-old birthday parties that are happening. Dave's pretty on top of it too. The bar mitzvahs and the bat mitzvahs, but. Yeah. So what goal are we talking about here? JT Miller's goal. By the way, we were talking about Zach Hyman having a quiet 40-goal season. What about JT Miller having a quiet 32-goal season? But yeah, on this particular goal, look, it's again, I hate to keep saying this, but the Jets are just kind of scrambling around and looking slow, and the Canucks. Usually when that happens, that's a bad thing. And Quinn Hughes is doing his thing. And obviously creates that play with the initial shot, but it's a combination of Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello, and look, they don't take care of the garbage. And Morrissey and DeMello, guys, I believe, were on the ice for the first 3 goals, so it wasn't a good night for them. And they're obviously the Jets' best D pair, but I don't think, Dave, there's much to break down here aside from the fact the Jets are scrambling in their own zone, and they just they don't pounce on the rebound, and JT Miller does.
No, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I thought we were gonna try and do these lightning, Drew. So I was expecting not.
You were still thinking of that soft and slow joke, weren't you?
I was trying to add on. I'm like, how can I add to that? But no, look, and the problem for the Jets is, especially given the fact that you're coming, you may be a little bit tired. A bad start is again, Captain Obvious, but it's one of the most inopportune things that you can do, because when you don't have your legs, playing catch up is not going to be easy. And, a goal 2 minutes into the hockey game, again, it just sets you on a bad course. And, at least we had, a national broadcast to make it not sound like it was a regional broadcast, to let us know exactly the best. I have to say, because again, I don't really care, and I don't give a shit really, obviously, one way or the other. But I have to say, like, when they highlighted the Scheifele one and they called it his embellishment, I just started laughing. I was like, "What? In what world are we are we watching that and thinking it was actually an embellishment?" And yet they referenced it as such. And I was like, "Okay, well, I guess we're watching a Canucks regional broadcast tonight and not a national one."
Are you talking about the trip on Burakovsky? What player?
No, they're talking. Remember the play when JT Miller hit him in the head? Gave him the shoulder to the head, and then Scheifele went. This is in 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
and they showed it in the highlight packet as at the beginning of the game.
I don't know how you elbow a guy in the head and then he embellishes it.
I know. That's why it just doesn't make any sense. I was just laughing.
Anyways, don't go together. Okay, sorry. I didn't realize that was the one you were talking about.
Yeah, we're rehashing things from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about the game from February 17th. That's how bad tonight's game was. That we're going back 3 weeks.
Not just us, the good folks in the national broadcast were the ones talking about it. I think what Dave is talking about.
Did they show the highlight of Neil Pionk scoring the power play goal into the empty net when Ilya Sorokin lost his skate blade? Remember that?
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, Drew's like, they've got the power play goal. You're like, did you look at the power play goal they actually scored, though, when the goaltender loses his blade? Anywho, so yeah, look, it's just it's an inopportune thing for the Jets, and you're behind the 8 ball. And one of the things we talked about was the whole idea was getting those guys into the rotation and hoping that a guy like David Gustafsson would give them some more juice, right? They pull Cole Perfetti out of the lineup. We thought maybe it'd be for Rasmus Kupari, that I thought Gustafsson might come in. Turns out he came in for Cole Perfetti. So something to take note of, that Cole Perfetti ends up being the scratch, and it's possible he's sick. The one thing we always have to be cautious of is, we don't know the reasons. So right away people jump to conclusions, but we don't know for what reason Cole Perfetti was the healthy scratch or not healthy scratch potentially.
And we didn't expect that, right? There was no indication Perfetti wasn't going to play,
No,
Dave. So that just further adds to your point that it's quite possible it was the flu bug or whatever is going around.
But I'm just saying that, so you expect, like, you inject guys into the lineup hoping that what did we talk about on this morning show? It's just that idea that you have these guys, you have the luxury of having extra bodies around. And, one guy who I want to mention, I'll talk about him on the other side of the break, but the one guy who they may want to start thinking about, a recall is Axel Jonsson-Fjällby.
Thank you.
Five goals,
AJF, baby.
5 goals, 6 assists in his last 5 games for the Manitoba Moose. And again, like I said, I'm not saying he's going to become your second line winger, but he may inject a little bit more on your fourth line than what they've got right now. Because,
but on Monday, your fourth line is going to become the Mesnikov and Iafallo and somebody else, whichever one, Barron or whomever. So I mean, let's just tap the brakes on Axel Jonsson-Fjällby.
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think we should tap the brakes. I like it.
Okay. Well, I mean, for the record, the one thing about Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, never really goes slow. So tapping the brakes that's not his thing.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm not sure that his speed is necessarily effective as well.
Well, another thing to look out for, though, boys, is that he's on a one-way deal next year.
Oh, so
remember when Axel Jonsson-Fjällby signed that deal? I'm just saying. So, I mean, Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, the reason why I bring that up is because obviously bringing in Tyler Toffoli pushes players down, right? Iafallo, like Drew said, Iafallo we expect to be on the fourth line, or him or Perfetti. Nemesnikov and Barron, I think you guys would agree, are locks on that fourth line for now, as long as everybody's healthy and Gabe Vilardi's back. By the way, it's not a guarantee. With what Ken Weeb was saying, I don't think
I don't expect Vilardi to play on Monday.
I don't think he is either. So I think that means that it's going to be Perfetti or Kupari on the fourth line.
Yeah, I don't expect Vilardi to play on Monday. I mean, he hasn't. I mean, he's just going to get back on the ice as far as we know.
On Monday.
Yeah, he's skating on Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, now just to be clear, Kevin Cheveldayoff or Rick Bowness, I think it was Rick Bowness, said he accelerated his workouts, whatever that means. But the Cheveldayoff said on Friday that he was getting back onto the ice on Monday, which means he hasn't been on the ice. So my guess is they're not. First of all, they're not going to rush him. Mm-hmm. They're going to give him some time, but I'd be shocked if he plays against the Capitals.
I agree with that. 1-0 Vancouver at this point. They make it 2-0. Not that many minutes later, they make it 2-0. 11 minutes later, 11 and change. Nils Höglander gets his 20th of the year. Talk about another guy who's a quiet 20-goal scorer.
Great player.
All of them at 5-on-5, by the way, at even strength. None of them on the power play. Him and Ehlers, 1-2 in the league in terms of guys with the most goals at 5-on-5. Höglander getting his 20th assist to Pius Suter and Elias Pettersson. This one's not a great one by Connor Hellebuyck, which really tells you there might be something up with him. It's a clean zone entry by Nils Höglander. Suter goes hard at the net, which you like. You like to see a player just going hard and causing some chaos. I thought at first maybe did he interfere with Connor Hellebuyck? He didn't, but the shot arrives almost simultaneous with Suter going through the line of sight of Hellebuyck, and this one sort of squeaks through. One of the worst goals that Hellebuyck has given up this year, and it's 2-0 Vancouver with about just over 6 minutes to go in the second period.
Yeah, and I think there's not much you can add here, in addition to the fact that I think that we know Connor Hellebuyck, he likes to play deep in his net. This was mentioned by Kelly Rudy on the broadcast, if you were listening, between the first period and first intermission, if I can speak properly.
Yeah, you've had a couple to drink, you mentioned.
Yeah, I've had a few margaritas. Not Bobby margaritas, but I had a few margaritas at the Sweet 16 party. That's right, Drew. But yeah, I think that you just... What you saw here is Hellebuyck is deep in his net. And he's going back a little bit and just takes an unfortunate bounce. And also Pettersson, the other player on that line, he's also going hard to the net. So there's not much more you can add here, aside from the fact that this was just kind of an ugly goal. Takes a funny bounce and goes in. It could have gone off a stick, a skate. I have no idea, but it was just an ugly goal. And yes, that you kind of got the feeling, boys, after that second goal, that this was not going to be, we obviously didn't know it was going to be a 5-0 game, but you got the feeling that Hellebuyck wasn't on, and certainly the Jets were not on.
Yeah, the Jets certainly were not on. There's no question about that. And I agree with you. They looked, Vancouver had more shots in the first period than Seattle had all game yesterday. I mean, the shots in the first period were 20-9. What was the
21.
Jet top line? It says 20 now, so who knows? Whatever, 20 or 21. Maybe they took a shot away. But the Jets' top line was outchanced and had a Corsi 4 of nothing. I think in the first period. I mean, they were just absolutely
it was terrible.
Controlled.
High danger chances 9-2 for Vancouver in the first period.
Yeah, I mean, it just tells you everything. It tells you everything about how that game was. The Jets forwards, the best forward group for the Jets were just non-existent. For the look, Connor, Scheifele, and the Mesnikov, they had a Corsi 4 percentage, and they only played the first period together, 5 minutes and 25 seconds. The Corsi 4 percentage was 5%, 5.5%. So I mean, it's 5.5%, 17-1 is what it was.
Is that good, Drew? Is that good?
You know what? It's not good.
Let's dive deeper into that number. Is that a good number or a bad number?
It's a bad number. The expected goals percentage, 3%, 3.4%. So I mean, they were just awful in that first period. The Jets were awful all game, and we'll get to Rick Bonus.
Well, that's why the super blender was out. Scheifele then centers Niederreiter and Appleton. It's at that point you're literally just
waving the white flag,
picking names out of a hat.
Yeah, you're like, you go on, you go on, you go on.
Yeah,
exactly. It's house league. It's the next three guys up, whichever the next three in the rotation are is who gets to play together at that point in time. 2-0 for Vancouver on this goal, and then they make it 3-0. 3 minutes and 13 seconds later. Philip de Giuseppe, I love his pizza. I'm not more of a DiGiorno guy than a Dr. Oetker guy, but whatever.
Aren't you more of a Boston pizza guy, Drew?
Well, yes, I guess we are more.
Drew loves his margarita pizza.
Yeah, when Boston Pizza comes out with a line of frozen pizzas, then they get my business, of course. But otherwise, when it comes to ordering pizza, yes, I'm a Boston Pizza guy. That's the Giuseppe's fifth of the year assist to Teddy Bluger. That's Bluger's 19th. And look, the Jets came very close to making it 2-1. Yeah. Mason Appleton, who actually had a couple of scoring chances in this game. He had that scoring chance on the opening shift of the game after the Nino Niederreiter shot. He had another scoring chance. Hang on, I'm just looking at my notes here. He had a scoring chance, right before this goal. I think he had another scoring chance, even after on a setup from Adam Lowry from behind the Canucks net. So Mason Appleton had at least 2 or 3 scoring chances in the course of the game. This one, he just misses. The rebound goes back up the ice. It's a 2-on-1 situation, and the Canucks capitalize on the 2-on-1. And you're like, okay, you come this close to scoring to cut the lead in half, and instead, just by fluke of a rebound and the Jets being aggressive and having 4 guys deeper than they typically would, Canucks transition up the ice, and they make no mistake, and it's 3-0 with 3 minutes to go in the first period, Dave.
Yeah, no, and that is when the flag gets waved, because it is, to me, the TSN turning point in the game. If they get that goal, even if their legs are feeling a little tired and they're feeling zapped from without energy, that a goal there makes them feel a lot better and changes the course of the game. Give Thatcher Demko a lot of credit, because he anticipates Mason Appleton. He gets out there, slides across quickly, makes the stop, and you credit the Canucks for recognizing, because of course Josh Morrissey, and I don't fault him, because again, his aggressiveness is what has led him to be so successful. Mm-hmm. So he tries to press, and the Canucks see an opportunity and they attack with numbers, and it ends up in the back of your net. So it's an unfortunate turn of events for Winnipeg, but like I said, you like the general aggression. I mean, you didn't, maybe the effort to get back in the zone wasn't what I would say was perfect by Winnipeg, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're pressing, you're down by 2. You don't like the I guess the break in the structure so much that there wasn't a forward who covered for Morrissey, just because.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I didn't love the way Dylan DeMello played this, and I'm a big fan of DeMello. I just want to preface that. I'm not knocking DeMello, but like you said, Dave, Appleton has the good scoring chance. Drew mentioned it. And like you said, when you're down 2-0 late in the first period, you got to get something going. You want to have something to build off of going into the intermission, right? So I have no problem with what Morrissey does there, but DeMello really pressures Bluger. Sorry, I had to go back and look who he was pressuring, Bluger, and DiGiuseppe's completely wide open. I just thought, if at the very least, if DeMello kind of stays between them, he kind of gives Bluger something to think about. But DeMello goes all hard at Bluger, and then DiGiuseppe, maybe it was just a lack of communication, or he thought maybe Josh Morrissey was going to be back quicker, Dave. But just overall, again, the execution, guys, like the defensive, this is when you are coming off. Sorry, Dave, I'm stealing your thunder here. But like when you're coming off of such a almost like a defensive masterpiece yesterday in Seattle, when Seattle couldn't do anything, tonight, like Drew said, this is like, going from one extreme to the other. Great defensive hockey to just crap.
Well, crap would be a good way to describe it. Yes.
And again, like I said, the problem is that the forward doesn't cover for Morrissey, so it allows and it creates that odd man rush for Vancouver. So again, I like the aggressiveness, but I mean, it's a 2-0 game in the first period. If you go into the first intermission down 2-0, that's not insurmountable. But when you're feeling like crap and now you're down 3-0, it makes it a lot more unrealistic to have some sort of expectation that you can get back into that hockey game.
Yeah, 3-0. Just a quick glance at the out-of-town scoreboard. Dallas did defeat the Los Angeles Kings tonight, so the Stars move 4 points up on the Jets. The Jets still, of course, have 3 games in hand, but Dallas, winners of 5 in a row, are now 4 points ahead of the Jets in the race for the top spot in the Central Division. Jets and Avs remain tied at 85
And by the way, Nashville won again, Drew.
Yes, Nashville did win again. I mean,
they're 10-0-1 in their last 11.
I guess they would be. That would make sense if they were 9-0-1 coming into tonight. They're now 10-0-1.
I did not see this coming, by the way. I thought that the Predators were going to be maybe second last in the Central. Good on them. I mean, I just didn't think they would be this good this year.
No.
I don't think they're getting out of the first round, but again, I mean, if they get into the playoffs, that's an accomplishment.
Certainly, and so good for Nashville as well. You're right about that. Canucks made it 4-0 in the second period. This coming at the 4:04 mark of the second period. It's a power play goal. Elias Pettersson getting his 31st of the year assist to Connor Garland and Quinn Hughes. This is with Morrissey in the box. No, pardon me. Ehlers in the box for an undisciplined slashing penalty behind the play.
Why was he so upset about it? He was complaining to the ref after he came out of the penalty box like it was a slash.
Yeah, you slashed the guy. This was a penalty. I mean, they always, I'm sure that the Vancouver guy did something at first that wasn't called, but in sports, they always call the reoffender as opposed to the initial offense. That's just,
you're right. We don't know what happened before that. You're right.
Right, but you would assume that the Vancouver guy did something, but Ehlers has to know that he can't do that in that instance. Just like all the Jets tonight were absolute. You can't do that. Should have been the mantra for tonight's game because that's how the Jets played. But anyways, with Ehlers in the box, Pettersson gets his 31st assist to Garland and Quinn Hughes. It's a shot from the point by Quinn Hughes, not a slap shot. The shot that gets through and it sort of deflects off of Connor Garland. And Pettersson is in good position to bang it in past Connor Hellebuck. Again, when you front a guy, as the defenders always do nowadays, they always front the guys. As soon as that puck gets between the last defender, gets past the last defender, that just means it's a one-on-one battle between the goaltender and the offensive player. And in this case, the offensive player won, and that offensive player being Elias Pettersson. Well, he's a pretty damn good offensive player, as we've talked about, and as the Canucks are now paying him for the next 8 years to be. 4-0, 4 minutes into the second period, and it's good night, Irene, at that point in time, because the Jets are certainly not coming back from that against a very talented Vancouver Canucks team.
Right. You mentioned defensemen fronting, on this particular play, what stood out to me is the two defensemen are Brendan Dillon and Dylan DeMello. Yeah. And what I didn't like is that, look, I mean, Vancouver has a good power play. They've got a lot of weapons. You've got, I think it was Iafallo, who was the forward on the left side, right? Yeah, and Lowry. And then Dillon comes out. I just thought Dillon came out a little bit high, Dave. And again,
Dylan DeMello or Brendan Dillon?
Exactly. Brendan Dillon, number 5. And again, guys, we're nitpicking here. Like, this wasn't a good game for the Jets. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are breaking down these goals. So I just thought Dillon was a little bit high. And then as Drew mentioned, Quinn Hughes, who obviously...
I wish I was.
Yeah, that's funny. Quinn Hughes, I should have thought of that one, Drew. Quinn Hughes, who obviously is the quarterback of the Canucks power play, puts it on net. And then because Dillon was high, he's a little bit slow to react to Pettersson behind him. And obviously DeMello, has I forget who was on the other side, if it was Brock Besser to worry about, right, Dave? So I just thought, again, just not a good defensive effort by the Jets, just overall not crisp. And look, they're allowed to have some bad games, but I mean, considering yesterday, I mean, it was like watching, Team Canada in the 2014 Olympics when nobody could do anything against them with, guys like Drew Doughty and Duncan Keith and Shea Weber. We remember that group of defensemen, right? It was like that in Seattle yesterday, right? And tonight it was just like the Jets just didn't have that same type of structure. I realize people are tired of hearing about it, but that's what's made the Jets so successful this year, is because you know what to expect. They've been consistent in that they don't give up a lot. And tonight against the Canucks, it was just, I mean, it was cookie night.
It was yes, exactly. It was free pastries all over the ice for the Vancouver Canucks. They wrap up the scoring in the third period, and we mercifully wrap up the Betway game recap as a result. P.S. Suter getting his 13th of the year, this coming with about just under 5 minutes to go in the game. Höglander throws it towards the net. Nemesnikov, tries to clear it away, but he clears it right onto the stick of Suter, and Suter makes no mistake putting it past Connor Hellebuyck. And all of these goals just exemplified how bad of a night it was for the Winnipeg Jets, Dave. And this one was just, it was unnecessary, but it just, again, another reason for the Canucks and the hometown crowd to celebrate a well-deserved vanquishing of an opponent they've had trouble with over the last number of years.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a situation where the Canucks didn't even look, you want to talk about crisp. They didn't look crisp. The pass out of the zone was in between their guys. You got a guy who just basically smashes it off the board. Jets have numbers. It's 5-2. There's 2 Canucks in the Jet zone. There's 5 Jets.
Yeah. And
somehow Suter is just, I'm just going to be unmolested, gets right into that spot and puts it in. And it's just, again, I'm going to use a Drewism.
Well, but also Nemesnikov backhands it. Sorry, Dave. Nemesnikov backhands it, does this weird backhand that goes off of Monahan. And like you said, I just watched the replay. There's 5 Jets back and 1 Canuck.
Well, no, 2 Canucks.
Like, I mean, I don't even. Sorry, 2 Canucks, but 5 Jets back, and like you said, just throws it on net, and it's just like, I guess you can just chalk it up to it's one of those nights. I just thought tonight's game was just. Everything about tonight's game was
well,
off.
And the Drewism that I was going to quote was, if you want to talk about attention to detail, you have 5 guys. Again, let's do the math. 5. Like, as he likes the restaurant, 5 guys. They had 2.
Oh, those Cajun fries. If you guys had those Cajun fries from 5 Guys,
if you had,
good job, Dave.
Hey, well, that's fine. 5 Guys, talking about Ezzy's love for 5 Guys would be more interesting than the rest. Than
the burgers are okay, but give me a VJ's or a Dairy Whip any day of the week.
Ooh, Dairy Whip. Great milkshakes at Dairy Whip.
Dairy Whip, great fries too. There's something different about the oil they use.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's old is what it is.
I'll tell you, the milkshakes are great at Dairy Whip. So, but no, I mean, look, it's just
Banchock, Dave. Banchock.
I'm not a big fan of Banchock. I'm a straight chocolate guy, but that's what we do.
Banchock from Salties in the summer. There's nothing better, man.
No, I don't have those. We didn't have bananas in the North End. We only had chocolate. So they only give us the North End.
Remember, it was a couple post game shows ago that Dave said they didn't have what was it? The Pink Lady apples. You can only get Macintosh apples. Is that what it was?
Red Delicious.
Red Delicious. It was Red Delicious apples.
Yeah, we don't have your fancy.
Hold on. Macintosh is the best apple. Are you guys? We have never had this.
Is he not on that post game show?
Apple.
Oh, I don't think so. You just
I don't think Ezzy. We did this a few post game shows ago.
I bet you're a Granny Smith guy, Drew.
No, it's Pink Lady.
I'm a Pink Lady apple guy.
Pink
we
Lady's
did
good.
this already.
No, I like Pink Lady, but I think Macintosh is better.
Well, no.
See, I'm with Phyllis. Red Delicious.
We did this. We already did this.
No. Red Delicious. Get out of here, guys.
Okay. Vancouver wins 5-0. That's the Betway game recap on this, what is now Sunday morning. It's
what about tuna?
What about
We're
tuna, losing
Drew?
an hour.
Okay, that's
tuna. Skipjack or albacore?
Okay. Always white flaked albacore tuna. That's not a question. No skipjack.
What about ambrosia? Jeff, who just got out of the hospital. Congrats to Jeff. He asked about ambrosia apples.
Okay. We'll be back with more of
moose
the
stuff.
Jets and the Canucks.
Let's go to break.
BP's new New York Sicilian Square Footers. With a thicker crust than ever before, they're light and airy on the inside and oh so crispy on the outside. You're gonna have your work cut out for you.
Okay, fine.
Try the New York Sicilian Square Footers, only at Boston Pizza.
You guys ever wish for a game changer in life?
Like finding out your favorite snack has 0 calories?
Or discovering the mute button on Ezzy?
Picture this, a secret weapon for parking, where you can book a spot a whole month in advance.
Tell me more, Drew.
Pre-book your parking at really low rates, or maybe even for free if you use the code IllegalCurve.
Free? What is this, sorcery?
The Grid Park app. It's a real secret weapon that has affordable game day parking, and to sweeten the deal even more,
I love sweets.
our listeners can use the code IllegalCurve to park for free.
Holy Zamboni.
Tell me about it. Just download Grid Park, GRYD Park, and use the code IllegalCurve, all one word, to park for free.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 12:25 in the morning, Sunday morning. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg. This is rather the Illegal Curve postgame show. The Illegal Curve Hockey Show was earlier Saturday morning from 9 to 11. That was a much better time than having to recap this dog poop of a game between the Jets and the Canucks. So
Good on us, boys, by the way, for pulling off the trifecta of shows in
it's
2
true.
days.
It's very impressive. If you missed any of this morning's Illegal Curve Hockey Show, we spent a lot of time, of course, talking about the trade deadline moves the Jets made. So you can go back, and we do recommend that you go back and watch it. The instant replays on the YouTube channel. And, of course, the podcast is available as well wherever you find podcasts, wherever you get your best podcasts from. So go ahead, go back to do that. Murata Tesh joined us, and we were also joined by Jordan Schmaltz, the People's Insider.
If you didn't watch the show today live, Murat was awesome. I mean, Murat's always awesome. Jordan Schmaltz brought it with his shades on. Yeah. And talking about, breaking some trades yesterday and talking about his time playing UND and having some kokanees at Earl's Main.
Yeah, it was a fun show this morning. So go check that out. Mason Appleton talking to Ken Wiebe post-game says, quote, "To lay an egg like that, it is unacceptable." So that's the Winnipeg Jets number 22. Displeased with the team effort. So was Rick Bowness. Quote, "The bottom line is that's the worst game we have played in my 2 years here by far, because we didn't have one player play a good game. Not one. It starts there and it ends there." So there you have it.
Not one.
Coach
That's
Rick
a great
Bowness
quote.
It's also smart though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to not lay the blame on one person's shoulders or a few, like it just makes a lot of sense. So it allows him to just kind of escape this game. I mean, one thing you realize with these veteran coaches, what sometimes, I mean, Paul Maurice was good at this, and I noticed Rick Bowness, they're very good at redirection. So if they sense that a question is going in a way they don't want to answer it, they cut you off before you're done, and they direct it the way you want. And then most of it, hey, we're Canadian, we're polite. So most people are like, well, I mean, and then it's the next person's turn. So they redirect it in the way they want. And you're like, well, that's not the question I was asking, but it's too late.
You're right, though, Dave. Bonus has been around way too long that he knows. I mean, look, they lost 5-0. Like, what else? How many different times are you going to say, well, like, why did you suck tonight, coach? Like, he knows, he knows why these questions or how these questions are going to come about. Right. So you're absolutely right. I mean, he doesn't necessarily answer the question the way you would like him to answer it.
Yeah. Let's redirect this post-game show to something a little bit more favorable.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minute Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Folks, it's time to talk about the Manitoba Moose, and it was a big tilt against the Iowa Wild. Both teams were in the hunt for some critical points as they battle with the Chicago Wolves for that fifth and final spot in the Central. Of course, the Moose have won 4 straight games. They did get a favor by the Minnesota Wild, who appeared to trade away their entire team during the trade deadline, including Nick Petan. He was freed. He was dealt to the Rangers organization. So no Nick Petan, who's had a lot of impact in Iowa. And you had a Moose team that was, like I said, feeling good, won 4 straight. And it's interesting because much like the game yesterday, boys, it was a 0-0 game through 40 minutes in Iowa. So you're like, okay, this is going to be a real snooze fest. No changes for the Moose. They went with the exact same lineup. And they gave up the first goal, but then they started to roll. Christian Reichel, part of that identity line with Jeffrey Viel and Parker Ford. He scores his 14th of the year to tie the game. And then Jeff Malott, who's been on a heater, he scores on a real nice forecheck by Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, which coughs up the puck or forces a turnover, I should say, in the Iowa zone. Brad Lambert, puck goes to him. And you got to give him credit. Real nice pass to Jeff, who's in front. He scores his 17th of the year, 2-1 for the Moose. And then a couple of empty netters. We don't generally break down empty netters, but Simon Lundmark from long distance, he makes it 3-1. And then Billy Heinola with his a little deft touch along the in tight at the net, he makes it 4-1. So Moose win 4-1. It's their 5th win in a row. They add some points to the standings bank. And they're feeling good. And like I said, in the beginning of the show, Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, 5 goals, 6 assists in his last 5 games. All 5, of course, as I just indicated, are wins for Manitoba. So they're feeling good. They've got a rematch with Iowa tomorrow night in Iowa. No surprise. And then they'll continue. I think they'll go back to Milwaukee. And then they'll conclude this road trip in Chicago, which is, of course, the team that they're going to be doing battle with for that 5th and final playoff spot. I suspect Iowa's done, especially if the Moose win on Sunday, which is today. So things are going well. And like I said, you got Jeff Malott, who's finding the back of the net. Christian Reichel, along with that, like I said, that VL and Ford line has been really good. And Ville Heinola, he gets his 4th of the year from Dominic Toninato. As a big birthday for Dominic Toninato. And
it's a big birthday for Spency. Never mind Dominic Toninato. It's also Spency's birthday today.
Really?
That's a real big birthday.
I didn't know that.
But
Happy birthday, Spency. I should text him.
Is it Spency's birthday on the 9th through or the 10th?
I guess the Spency's birthday was the 9th. So
well, then no offense, you failed. I mean, for you to bring it up now on the 10th, it's happy belated birthday.
No. I think it's technically still the 9th.
It is not technically still the 9th. In fact, we're about to.
No, but if you went out for your birthday,
yeah,
I'm going to text Spency right now.
Birthday, it would carry over into the next morning when it would technically not be your birthday anymore.
I would not accept birthday wishes from you on the 16th of September.
Look, I've been very clear about this over the years on this show that I will not acknowledge people's birthdays because I don't remember when people's birthdays are. I'm generally a good person, except for the fact that I don't know when anyone's birthday is.
Well, I
would agree with that, Drew. You are generally a good person and you don't care about other people's birthdays.
That's fine.
It's well established. It's on my business card. Look, when I meet you, that's what's on my business
card. Guys, we're old here. Like, let's be honest. What a birthday is like. I'm turning 42 this July. Like, what does that even mean? Like, it's not a significant birthday. 40
means you outlived your age expectancy by 10 years based on your life habits.
Anyways, happy birthday to Spency. Despite Drew's,
I'm like a cat, Drew. I have
despite Drew's
lives.
slip up of not wishing Spency happy birthday on our Saturday morning show, which would have been a lot more appropriate, Spency. There we go. Let's go. Well, you're 43 in a day.
Yeah, look, and then you can see I just texted Spency. See
and now
that?
Everybody has his number. Well done there, Drew. Has he? Spency's going to get a lot of eggplant photos right now coming his way. Thanks to Ezzy.
Are you done with the Minute Moose Minute?
Yeah. What do you mean? I finished like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, good. Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
If anything has become clear over these last two
he sounds wonderful
game shows, it's that we've all completely lost our mind after doing all of these Jets games. What was that, Dave?
Well, your mic cut out for a sec, so I was like, "You sound wonderful."
Oh, okay, yeah, that's funny. Okay, we're gonna give it to LB, even though. Hold on a second, I don't know what's going on here. We're gonna give it to LB. I'm not sure if this is Laurent Brossoit. I don't think it is because Laurent Brossoit probably didn't tune into the post game show to see his team lose 5-0 and then us recap it. But this comment's good. I had it up earlier in the show. Apparently, they all went whale watching yesterday when they got in. Then they went puck watching. Just kidding. I'm making all of this up. And then I have to also include that Drew is the best. Obviously, this person knows Drew, I'm assuming. I mean, nobody that didn't know Drew would say that. But anyways, I thought it was funny because obviously they're in Vancouver.
Laura's middle initial is B, so there was a possibility that I thought it might be my wife, but she's been asleep for the last hour, and there's about a 0% chance she ever watches this post-game show.
No, absolutely not. Sometimes I mention it to Laura, and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because you guys do a post-game show? I just thought Drew was in the basement.
Yeah, I just thought Drew was working on model airplanes. I had no idea what he was doing down there.
I thought he had a big train set down there. That's what I assumed he did all day.
Yeah, I just thought Drew was doing his 1,000-piece puzzles. I had no idea you do a hockey show.
I hate puzzles. I hate jigsaw puzzles with a burning passion.
You know what? I'm like, just as an aside, because I think this is an important topic we should talk about. I didn't really like puzzles, but then Ariella started really liking them. Like we do like 60-piece puzzles, or like we've done 100-piece puzzles.
But it's pretty degrading when the kids are better at them than you are.
No, 100%. Ariella is very smart. She's better, but I'll say this much. I like doing puzzles with my daughter. I don't like doing them by myself. Like when I see people doing these like 2,000-piece puzzles on these big tables, I'm like, I would rather pour, cyanide into my eyes than do this. Like I would rather do anything than do
pour cyanide. I don't think it's a liquid.
Isn't it?
I don't know. Is it a liquid or is it a capsule? I guess it's a tough one.
I know it's in apples.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with poisons.
Right, Dave knows that. Cyanide's in apples.
And like, if you have too many apple seeds, I think you would have to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to eat an
only in
seeds.
Drew's Pink Ladies. We didn't have apple seeds in our Red Delicious apples in the North End.
Yeah, I've always thought Drew might poison me at one point. Expensive. That's why I brought that up. But anyways, LB, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com. I apologize for the fact that I've made absolutely no sense on tonight's show. I had a couple margaritas earlier in the night. But yeah, send me your mailing info for that great comment. I'll put it up here. 1 second. I'll forget the fact that you said Drew is the best, because obviously Dave is the best. But yeah, LB, send me your mailing info on Twitter @ICSEG or Ezra@illegalcurve.com, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you. Thank you very much for the great comment.
Well, this has been an entertaining edition of the post-game shows. I mean, I got to say that at the very least. It's been something.
We turned a 5-0 loss into something that was worth listening to. At least I think so.
Yeah, exactly. By focusing less on the game and more on our complete and total insanity and shenanigans. It's true. You get it all here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We cover all bases all the times. I can't believe we're still rehashing the Apple debate from about, what was that, 3 weeks ago? We're still onto the Apple, so maybe we can move on.
Well, as he wasn't part of that one. So I mean, if anybody who's gonna have an opinion on apples, it's the man who bought a rotten apple at 7-Eleven.
It's true. There's a man who knows where to buy his apples, and that's Mr. Ginsburg right there, folks.
We could have a new winner of the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, though, with this one. MB from MB wrote, I love the chaotic commentary. Come for the Jets post game. Stay for the cyanide in the eyes. Thank you, MB from MB.
That's pretty, with all the, if you ever watch Sean and Ken, I'll tell you what, they might break down the game in a slightly more nuanced manner than we will, but we are funnier than they are. There's no question about that.
Please, come on.
I don't know. Kenny's pretty funny.
It's a dry wit. That would be.
It's a bit more.
John's not funny at all, but Kenny's
a bit more rural humor there, Ezzy.
Alrighty, folks.
Hey,
That's
don't
been 3 shows in
the
the
great
last
town of Lactabani, Dave.
No, I'm talking about Kenny. That's Altona.
Yeah, Altona. Yeah.
3 shows in 24 hours. This is what happened.
Good rodeo in Altona.
May God have mercy on our souls.
We'll be back Monday night after the Jets and the Washington Capitals for another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show, assuming YouTube doesn't somehow cancel our show between now and then, which is entirely possible. Dave's begging for that to happen. Post-game coverage still to come. Post-game coverage still to come on illegalcurve.com in case you missed any of the show. It's already up.
And Kenny and Rennie. I think Kenny and Rennie's live too, right, Dave?
Not yet.
Okay.
They'll be up.
I guess they have responsibilities.
You can stay up late with them. You might even be able to lose an hour if they go long enough into the hours.
Oh, for sure.
Kenny and Rennie going live at 2 in the morning.
Well, it'll be 3 in the morning though.
But you got to remember they're in Vancouver though.
That's true, but for those in Winnipeg, I don't think they're going to get a big audience of people in Vancouver watching them.
So it's like Back to the Future.
I don't even know what time it is or what day it is, but you might as well go into the car dock and see if you can get back to what was it? What was the year in Back to the Future?
1986.
1985.
I think.
Come on.
Was it 85?
No, the year they went back to. I know when it was in
67.
Was it 67?
No, it was like the 1800s they went back.
No,
they didn't go back to the 1800s.
They did in Back to the Future 3, Drew.
Well, I don't think he was talking about Back to the Future 3. Nobody talks about Back to the Future
I'm pretty sure it was
3.
1967.
I thought it was in the 50s, to be honest. I thought it was earlier than that.
Drew, what was the American Civil War like?
1955.
Thank you. There you go. I knew it was in the 50s. I knew 67 was. They were doing sock hops and things like that, and going for soda pops and malts in the diners.
Of course, it was the year you were graduating from high school.
There you go. All righty. Big thanks to Farmery Beer, Rollies Transfer, Seagram's, Boston Pizza, Tough Duck, Betway, Zappia Group Realty, Linden Market Dental Center, Grid Park, where you can use code Illegal Curve to park for free, and Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club.
AJ Jet's back. He's my man for bringing that up. That's hilarious.
Yes. Thank you.
Next IT. Read it, Ezzy. Read it.
Slow, Drew. Soft and slow.
Yeah, that's
next IT. Next, for those on the podcast, next ICT shirt, soft and slow, Drew style.
I just give you a picture of Drew in that shirt.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. If you haven't done so, smash the like button. For Dave Manook, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mendel. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow @Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.